Hello everyone and welcome back to GodSaw's Turnbuckle, and once again it is time for some more predictions over here, and this time we are going to be predicting AEW's All Out. Now just taking a look at the card at this point in time, it looks like they have 10 matches on the main card, but they also have 3 matches in what they are calling the Talegate Brawl right beforehand. It seems like the hour before the show goes on the air. I am going to go through all 13 of the matches here. I am going to probably be a little bit more rapid fire during the Talegate Brawl matches for the first 3. So we will go ahead and start with those. The first match we have is an 8-woman tag. It will be Willow Nightingale, Mina Shirakawa, Harley Cameron, and Queen Aminata going up against Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. In this particular case, I do see the babyface team going over in this particular match. I don't see any other reason why they probably would not do so at this point. So I am going to go with the babyface team for this particular match. Up next, they had Daniel Garcia, stumbled over my words there for a second. It's going to be Daniel Garcia going up against Katsuyori Shibata. In this particular case, I feel like it would be Daniel Garcia going over in this particular match, just mainly because he just joined up with the Death Riders, so I don't see them having him lose right away. So I have Daniel Garcia going over there. And then we have Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. They're going to be going up against the Workhorsemen, and I really don't see any other people going over in this one other than Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs, so I'm going to go with them to go over in that. And going ahead and starting with the main card for All Out, it will be a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, ladder match to be more specific, and it will be for the AEW Tag Team titles. It's going to be Brodito going up against the Young Bucks versus Jet Speed versus Hechicero and Josh Alexander. This was pretty much set up earlier last week that they were going to have qualifying matches for this, which you had all those qualifying matches on Dynamite. I feel like in this particular case, just where I'm going to be going with certain matches a little bit later, I feel like Brodito is going to pick up the victory here and keep the AEW tag team titles, though it would be an interesting area if you did kind of go full circle and have the Young Bucks pick up the titles at this point. I feel like it's still a little bit early for them to be picking up those tag team titles, and what I'm thinking is going to be happening with those tag team titles down the line, I don't think the Bucks are really going to be picking up the victory quite yet for that. So I'm going to go with Brodito to pick up the victory here and keep the AEW tag team championships. And up next, it's going to be a tables and tacks match. Yes, you heard that one correctly. It's going to be Mark Briscoe going up against MJF. This has been a very well done feud between the two of them. And it's just like you've seen how MJF usually goes. He gets very personal with any of his particular feuds. Definitely went that route here. You had a very heated conversation, like promo segment between MJF and Tony Khan that happened on Dynamite, and just everything with Mark Briscoe and everything that he's gone through in terms of as of a character in general. It just kind of leads me to believe that Mark Briscoe is going to pick up the victory on this one. I don't feel like it's going to be the end of the feud, but I do see them giving, one up for Mark Briscoe in some way, shape, or form, because in every other way, MJF has pretty much actually been ahead of Mark Briscoe in getting the victories, everything in that sense. So I feel like they're going to give one here to Mark Briscoe, and I'm going to go ahead and pick him for this one. And up next, it's going to be the returning Eddie Kingston going up against Big Bill. Big Bill basically was talking some trash about Eddie Kingston on Collision and ended up challenging him to a match, and lo and behold, we are going to have that match. And Eddie Kingston's going to be returning, so that's always a good sign. I've always enjoyed Eddie Kingston's work in the past, and it'll be interesting to see how everything goes for him returning to AEW as well. I don't see them having Big Bill pick up the victory in this one, so I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston to pick up the victory, and hopefully what will be a pretty good match. And up next is going to be for the AEW Unified Championship. It's going to be a triple threat match. It's going to be Okada going up against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. And that one actually ended out being added in on Dynamite with another qualifying match. Again, they did do 3 sets of qualifying matches for this one. Yes, they did have, I guess in this case, a mini tournament where each of the 3 people had to win a match going into that. I wonder what would have happened if Okada did not win his match. With that, because I don't even think they announced that particular match being for the unified title at that point. So that would have been an interesting one for that. Now, for purposes of everything, I feel like most of this storyline is going to be between Takeshita and Okada and setting up for probably a one-on-one match between the 2 of them later down the line. I do feel like this will be a good time for Dorada to at least show off a bit in this match and maybe lead to something else down the line. He is part of CMLL, so he'll probably see Dorada every now and again, but I don't see him picking up the victory. It's a good chance he'll probably be taking the pinfall in this one, and I'm going to be going with Okada to pick up the victory for this. And up next is going to be for the AEW Women's Championship. It's going to be a fatal 4-way match. It's going to be Timeless Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander versus Tekla. This has been kind of just set up between the feuding between basically everybody in general, between Jamie Hayter, Statlander, and Tekla. They've been doing a lot. They've been primarily the ones feuding, and Timeless Toni Storm is going to be basically that. I guess this was one of those things where maybe they were looking for her to do something. They came up with a fatal 4-way for it. Since it's going to be a fatal 4-way, I don't see Timeless Toni Storm losing the championship here. Again, with a title reign that's been like hers at this point in time, you feel like that should end in probably a one-on-one match of some sort. So I don't see that happening here. So I'm going to go with Timeless Toni Storm. And up next, it's going to be a coffin match. It's going to be Jon Moxley going up against Darby Allin. These 2 have been basically feuding ever since the Texas Death Match at All In, where Darby Allin's basically been getting in the way of everything against the Death Riders, which has led us to this particular match, which is, yes, going to be a coffin match, which, fitting for what you would typically get out of a Darby Allin match, which you would expect a lot of crazy spots, more than likely a little bit of blood in there, probably coming from Jon Moxley and probably Darby Allin as well. It's going to be one of those wild matches between the 2 of them. You don't expect anything different out of a Darby Allin match to begin with. Now, in terms of a winner for this one, I feel like Darby Allin is going to pick up the victory here. He hasn't really, I wouldn't say he hasn't been picking up victories, because he has been, but they haven't really given him that big victory over somebody like a Jon Moxley or something like that in this sense. So I do feel like Darby Allin's going to pick up the victory on this one. And up next, it's going to be a tag team match. And honestly, this more than likely could be the main event of the night, just considering that this is going to be in Toronto. But I am going to do this here and now. It is going to be Adam Copeland and Christian Cage going up against FTR. And man, this feud between the 2 of them has actually been quite good. At least I feel like it's been rather enjoyable. The segments that they have been doing, setting up everything going into this particular match, has been very well done. It's just one of those things of where they're going to go with this particular feud. Is it going to be more than just the one match? Is Adam Copeland and Christian Cage going to continue tagging after this one? Because basically their story is that Adam Copeland helped out Christian Cage with his issue with Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus, and then Christian Cage is going to help out with FTR. Does that continue to be a tag team afterwards? It's going to be really hard to say. Now, where I feel like this is going to go is it probably will lead to an AEW tag team title match of some sort. And so I don't feel like this is going to be the only match of this particular feud. So I'm going to go with FTR to pick up the victory in this one, which will probably lead into another set of matches between them down the line. It feels like you want to get more out of this one versus just the one match. So I'm going to go with FTR for this. And up next is going to be a 6-man tag team match. It's going to be a trios match. It is going to be the Hurt Syndicate going up against Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. This has basically been set up finally with Ricochet retaliating after being basically punked out by the Hurt Syndicate many months ago, where it looked like he was going to potentially join up with them. But then MVP had a change of heart afterwards and ripped up the business card. And basically the Ricochet and the Gates of Agony cost the Hurt Syndicate their AEW tag team titles, which led us into this match here. For purposes of everything, it looked like the Hurt Syndicate picked up the upper hand going in to the pay-per-view on Dynamite with everything. So I'm going to go with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony to pick up the victory on this one. I don't feel like this is going to be the only set of matches between these guys. So again, I feel like the heels are going to pick up the victory on this. And up next, it will be for the TBS Championship. It will be Mercedes Moné going up against Riho. Riho has come back to AEW. I don't know how long that's going to end up being for in these particular ones. She did prevent Mercedes Moné from beating down Alex Windsor after their TBS title match a few weeks ago, which led to Riho getting a TBS title match herself. Now, it is one of those situations where we do have a one-on-one situation, and I know Mercedes Moné has had that TBS title for quite some time, but you don't know how long Riho is going to be around. Is it going to just be a one-off match or something in that sense for Riho in this case? But either way here, I don't see her being the one that ends Mercedes Moné's TBS championship run, so I'm going to go with Mercedes Moné to win this match. And up next, it will be for the AEW World Championship. It will be Hangman Adam Page going up against Kyle Fletcher. This match was set up. It looked like it was potentially going to be Wardlow. That was at least the rumored one in the terms of the news side of everything. It was rumored that it was going to be Wardlow in this match, but he ended up getting injured in his return to the company over at Forbidden Door. So he's not going to be in this match, and it's going to be Kyle Fletcher because they have been doing a story beat where it's going to be members of the Don Callis family going up against Hangman Adam Page. You have the whole setup there with Kyle Fletcher taking out Kenny Omega and beating down Hangman Adam Page as well to go along with it. Honestly, this is going to be a really good match, but I don't see any other winner other than Hangman Adam Page for this match. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and predict him to win this one and keep the AEW World Championship. Like I said, it should be a really fun match in all sense of the word. It'll be a really good one, but it doesn't feel like Kyle Fletcher would be quite ready for that world title run yet. Somewhere down the line, yes, just not here. So that is going to be everything here. It was a lot of matches to get through because you did have the 3 for the Talegate Brawl at the beginning, and then they have 10 matches on the main card as well. So a lot of matches to go through. Should be a really good show. Honestly, I feel like it should be a fun show, though it does feel like it's kind of all over the place to a certain degree. But go ahead and leave your predictions down in the comments below. Also, feel free to like the video if you so wish, and also subscribe to the channel as well. And with that being said, I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.